Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Or good afternoon if you're listening to us in Europe or South Africa.
Oh my gosh, you just said South Africa. That makes me think of your Nigerian boyfriend.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Megan sent me a text the other day that was like, anytime we get a new country, it's like, oh, new listener. And she was like, South Africa. Like her mind was blown. And I was like, oh yeah, I went on a date with him when he was in Chicago. She was like, of course you did. And then the next day she was like, Nigeria. I'm like, no, not me. But she was like, do not wire him any money.
Now we're totally offending our one Nigerian listener. I'm sorry.
No, calling him or her out. Yeah. Follow us on Instagram and like tell us where you're from. I think it's so fun that people are listening to us in different countries.
Yeah, definitely.
So follow the Planner's Passport on Instagram and then we'll shout you out.
Yeah.
So anyways, speaking of a different country, today we have a guest from the South.
Which sometimes feels like a different country.
I feel like she would agree.
Why don't you introduce our guest, Jen? Because you always do such a nice job when you introduce our guests.
All right. So today on the podcast, I have my good friend and partner. Now we're partners in crime. Kelley Kohler of Haviland Events. Did I say it right?
Haviland, yeah.
Haviland Events. I'm a northerner, so you know.
I mean, that's, the whole theme.
It's a whole episode. So I met Kelley when her and her family, actually, you just had a teeny family when you lived here, just a husband. And I met her when she lived in Chicago. Then she left me.
Then I left you.
It was a personal attack.
Yeah, I have abandonment issues, so it was really tough. But Kelley and her now big family, she has 3 little boys, live in North Carolina. So welcome to the show, Kelley.
Thanks. I'm excited.
Kelley, will you tell us a little bit about how you got started in the industry? You have a great story, so I would love for you to share it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually grew up wanting to be a wedding planner. And my parents said that that's not a real job and you can't be a wedding planner. So I went to college and still wanted to be a wedding planner. And I met a woman at school named Anne who was a wedding planner and ran all the fundraising at, I went to Presbyterian College in South Carolina. And I said, I have to work for you because I want to be a wedding planner. And I basically forced her to hire me and for free. And eventually she started paying me. So I helped her with weddings all through college. Then it's just kind of started doing more and more weddings. So I think it's been 12 years now. Haviland's been open for 10 this year. I was actually just doing the math on, which is crazy. And I've moved my business from Richmond, Virginia to Chicago, then from Chicago to North Carolina.
Well, and didn't you did a couple of events, you lived in Italy for a little while too, didn't you?
I did. So that's where I kind of came up with like my style of like my love for hospitality. I think that Southern weddings are so fun. All weddings are so fun because like the heart of it is hospitality. But Italians just do it better. And like one of the big things that I loved about doing weddings in Italy is like the options for flowers, or like you have white flowers, or you can have like these other ones that we might have the day of that we don't know. You can have a white linen, or you can have a white linen, or you can have red wine, or you can have white wine. Like we're not even like being crazy about the wine choices. It's about the hospitality of it. And like, it's so refreshing.
Yeah. So then you came back, and did you start your company then once when you got back, or what was the timeline
in
there?
Richmond. So came back to Richmond, met my husband in a bar like the week I got back.
After she had an Italian lover, everybody. Isn't that so sassy? I love it.
How did you leave him?
Oh, goodness. That's a whole other episode.
It was a legit lover, not one of mine. Like they were lovers.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you were like, bye.
Yeah. And then I met Luke in a bar and knew that night that I was going to marry him. And then I opened Haviland, I don't know, kind of slowly. I mean, I feel like it's the same story for everybody. I was doing like weddings day of planning for like $600
Yeah.
for friends and had no idea what I was doing. And then,
Sounds familiar.
then I kept going. Yeah.
Right. You just pretend like you know what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when did you start shifting in? Because Kelley does some like conferences and such. When did that pop onto your radar? Because that kind of was you weren't chasing that. Somebody just was like, now you're going to do this, right?
Yeah. No, I didn't. And I actually really loved the conference. So that's really the one that we do together. And then, I mean, if they're put on my plate, I'll entertain others. But it was kind of just a conversation that was offered to me and it fit and it felt like a good like missional move to have something different to do. And I get to travel a little bit with it, which is way more complicated with 3 kids now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I came into the picture.
Why Jen came into the picture.
Yeah. So Kelley is on today specifically to talk a little bit about, like, you heard our Midwest versus East Coast weddings, and she had some thoughts. She called me, I think, a couple of times to tell me her thoughts while she was listening to it. But we want to hear about the quote unquote Southern wedding style because it is different. And then we also want to fight about where the North and the South end and start.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think too much about that there would be a difference between northern and southern weddings.
Oh my goodness.
I've been to one wedding in Florida, but it seemed pretty similar to up here.
See, Kelley already made the face. Apparently,
Florida's
Florida is not the...
Well, we all know that Florida is its own thing.
Yeah, Florida is Florida.
Yeah, it's its own country.
Florida's Florida. They're not the South. I don't know. I was thinking about this a lot and actually talking to my sister about it because she was making fun of me. I called her after y'all's episode when Jen said, I don't know if Kelley actually lives in the South, in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It's got North in the name.
Yeah.
Okay, but do you want me to tell, like, this is how people talk here. Like, we talk like this, and I could just do the rest of the episode talking like this.
But you actually talk like that? Because you weren't talking like that when you were on.
Well, I live in Charlotte. And like Charlotte is kind of, I mean, I don't like it.
It's like a city.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, that could be the same when you're talking about like a Wisconsin accent. Like if you grew up near Milwaukee, it's a little bit different than if you grow up like in Warsaw or whatever.
Warsaw?
Is there a place in Warsaw called in Wisconsin?
I think that's in Poland, isn't it? Let's call our one-eyed geography teacher from Catholic Central.
Obviously, we need a geography teacher. Y'all need a geography teacher.
Oh, it's Wausau.
Wausau. There you go.
He only had one eye. How was I supposed to learn geography? Okay.
Okay. So Kelley, why don't you start since we've already talked about this? Where do you feel the South starts? I want to know.
Okay. So I'm from Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
And this is like a sore spot from Richmonders.
Okay.
Because Richmond is very, so I was talking to my sister about this. And the South is like, she lives in New York now. She's all fancy. And so she was making fun of me that I care so much, that like I am Southern. And I think it's interesting because it's more of like a culture and like it's a culture for us. Like we bring casseroles when somebody has a baby and we like.
You drink sweet tea.
I think Richmond to Florida is the South.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say.
I almost need to pull up a map.
I did. So, okay. I was just in Virginia this past week for a site visit for Kelley and a conference we're doing there in October. I stayed in a little town called Williamsburg. It was too much for me. But, you know, the hotel is perfect. The conference is going to be great. But I didn't see a single lover. Virginia is for lovers. I didn't see a single lover.
Did you eat any casserole?
I didn't, but I did eat biscuits. I had biscuits and ham.
Okay.
I feel like isn't
So
ham
like salty ham?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. But my first night there, I went to the bar, had some oysters, and the guy had this like Southern accent. And so I was like, where are you from? And he's like, here. And I was like, what? Because to me, I didn't feel like Virginia is the South? And then I pulled up a map, and you know what? I'll give you North Carolina. I will. But Virginia, it's 2 hours from DC.
It's hard. And that's why it's hard, because like DC is not the South.
Not at all.
DC is a whole other world.
Yeah, DC is like Florida.
Yeah, literally Richmond, and that is a hard line.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've decided I'll give you North Carolina. Jury's out on Virginia.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay.
I just think of the Mason-Dixon line.
And I still don't know where that is.
In Maryland. It's even north of Richmond.
Oh.
Okay. Can you give me a history lesson real quick on the Mason-Dixon line? What is it even? Does anybody know?
I don't know. But I say it a lot.
Same. But then it's like, what the hell is it?
I think it just divides the country in half, right?
Well, there's a lot of things that do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Real quick. It's a historical boundary primarily known as the border between Pennsylvania and Maryland and Delaware. It was initially established to resolve a dispute between the Penn and the Calvert families over land ownership. Pennsylvania, I wonder if that's what the name... It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. So, anywho's it's... Let's talk about weddings.
Let's talk weddings.
So, Kelley, walk us through, like, timeline of tell us all about what you consider to be Southern style wedding.
Yeah, because you planned up here in Chicago too. So you know Northern and what you're saying Southern. So talk to us about the differences here.
What's really funny is that one of the things that I called Jen to say after this last episode, after this Midwest versus East Coast wedding, is that I don't think that I ever planned a Midwest wedding the entire time I was in Chicago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, I remember my first meeting with a bride and groom in Chicago, first timeline meeting, and me being like, cool, so who's doing your bridesmaids lunch? And they're like, what is a bridesmaid's lunch? And I'm like, you're an idiot. What are you talking about? What's a bridesmaid's lunch?
That's like when I told my Jewish couple that they had to fast before the wedding. You didn't listen to that episode? Yeah, go back to episode 1, y'all.
So did you force them into the bridesmaid lunch?
So I didn't force them into it, but I learned really quickly. I was just like, oh, people don't do that.
Yeah.
People don't do that up here.
Would you explain what a bridesmaid lunch is?
So a bridesmaid's luncheon is on the Friday of the wedding, and it is basically in honor of your bridesmaids. So like a close a close girlfriend of like your mom typically would throw it, or like grandma or something like that would throw it for you and your bridesmaids. That's when you give them like the gift that you're going to give them for like being in your
wedding party.
Yeah, and it's just you have a cute little lunch. And
so how is that different than like a shower? Like, do you still have a bride shower?
And then
the shower's in honor of the bride.
You're giving bridesmaids gifts.
Oh, okay.
For you to get gifts.
Okay. I feel like wedding parties up here would be like, there's just one more thing we have to do.
Oh, well, wedding parties down here think that too.
Okay.
But like like when you're planning stuff, you come in the Thursday night and then everybody goes and you get your nails done on Friday morning all together, and then you get dressed and you go to the bridesmaids luncheon, and then you get dressed again and you go to the rehearsal dinner, and then you go to sleep, and then you get dressed again and you go to the wedding.
Okay.
What are the men's doing on Friday while the bridal lunch is happening?
Golf.
Do we care? Oh, yep. They still do that up here. Yeah.
Yeah. They're playing golf.
Yeah. I feel like that's what my grooms are doing as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were like, when's the bridal lunch? And then you called them an idiot.
Yeah.
Internally.
And I learned to take that off of my timeline questionnaire. And yeah, so down here, a traditional Southern wedding, I would say, is always stations style. So you come into the reception, you are at the ceremony.
Can I interrupt and back up?
Yeah.
Churches all the time?
No. I think especially recently, like a lot of people. I haven't had a church wedding for a while.
I was just curious.
Wedding, but and I think the logistics of a church wedding are so much easier because you can have the whole venue to yourself to set up. But no, I wouldn't say.
Okay. I was just
Yeah.
curious because we went right to reception, what you see mostly.
Yeah. And so you walk in to a cocktail hour, still separate. You have like live music playing at a cocktail hour, you have some nibbles, then you shift to reception. The band is playing like at the beginning, but like kind of like backgroundy, like jazzy chatting music.
Okay.
And you go to, there's like 5 different stations set up around the place. There's a couple bars to spread people out. And the thought is that you grab a drink and then you grab like a little small plate of food and then you stand up and you eat it and then you discard that and then you can dance for a little bit and you're just kind of like dancing and eating and like drinking continuously.
Is the seating cocktail style? Like what are tables set up
I
like?
typically seat for 2/3. Like I have a seat for 2/3 of guests, and that's between a cocktail table, a seated, like a small. I never do 5 or 6 foots. Like I do 4 foots with like 4 or 6 chairs. So like seated cocktail and then lounge, a lot of lounge.
Cool.
And so like the dance floor is open. You have lounge like by the dance floor. So people are like sitting and like eating. But it's funny because like people know what to expect. Like y'all talked on the other episode about like people would have no idea what to do if you did that. Like people would just stand in lines. And I saw that when I did a station style reception in Chicago. People lost their minds.
Yes, I think that stations like I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago or so up here, people were trying to do stations and nobody understood what was happening. And I tried to explain this to my couples because they're like the theory is great. They're like, oh yeah, you can come in and we hate sitting the whole time and you can just grab a little plate of food and then mingle and get back up. And up here, people are so worried that damn food is going to run out that they load up their plates and act like it's a buffet.
And I'm mad that it's this big of a plate.
Okay, I have to tell you guys that I do agree, but I'm giving it a go. I have a wedding next year and we're doing it. And so here's what I'm thinking though. We're not doing a cocktail hour is my thought. So ceremonies downstairs. It's at Salvage One. Kelley, did you ever work there?
No, but I've seen it.
So we'll go right from ceremony upstairs. And that's where there'll be stations, pass apps, bars, and just like my hope is that because there's not this like cocktail hour and then we go up, that people will get it. That's my hope.
Yes.
Because it's totally shifting everything up. So hopefully they'll be prepared for cocktail hour so that that's what they're, going into.
Can I offer you a suggestion?
Please, anytime.
At each station, have it be more of a mini meal.
Yes.
So up here, what happened is that the caterers didn't even really know. And they were suggesting like, okay, so over here we'll have a vegetable area. And over here we'll have a mashed potato bar. And over here we'll have meat. And it's like, well, then you're setting yourself up for a buffet situation. You have to want them do individual things.
Yes, we are going to have each station be a full cuisine.
Yes.
Like Asian food, Italian food.
Yes.
And they'll be manned. They'll be chefed action stations. And so this is kind of cool. The bride's dad, I think he collects maps or published maps. He's a publisher. I think there's something with maps. Her initials are map.
Okay.
So we're going to make a map. That's so people will get it and they can like use it as a passport to like go to each little thing. So we're hoping that also inspires that it's like, you don't have to wait in line at one. You can go back, and having enough. We're going to have 6.
Right.
And they'll be open for the full like 2 hours of dinner. So
I was going to say, is there anywhere you can note that they will be open for 2 hours? Because otherwise people panic.
On the map. Yeah. Because I hear that, Kelley, and I'm like, how fun to not have to go sit.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. When do we do toasts and formalities?
Like in between.
Yeah.
So I typically have people come in for like, I don't know, 30 or 45 minutes to like get their first thing that like, whether it's a drink first or a plate first. And then we do first rounds then we do like entrance and then first rounds of toast. And then everybody mingles and dances again. And then and then you kind of like shift to the next, like you shift to like the dancing with the first dance and father, daughter, and mother, son.
So that's kind of the same as up here. Like you lead with those main dances.
How annoying are bridesmaids in the South?
I don't think any more or less annoying than other places.
Great.
They're well fed.
It just comes up on some of our podcasts, so I wanted to just out of curiosity. How big of a smartass is that one groomsman down in the South? Still big smartass?
I think it's just all how much you pay attention to them.
Yeah.
What's the average size of the weddings you do? How many guests typically?
I would say 150, 125 to 150. I think I'm starting to see smaller weddings too. I mean, since COVID, it's like sticking, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, people aren't loving like the big, huge. Well, I say that, but then last year I had like a 350 person wedding, which was fabulous. But
you like big ones?
So this wedding specifically was fabulous. It was in like a teeny tiny town, and they like took up the whole like main street of it. And they did like a second line from the church to the reception venue. They walked. It was like very small town Southern vibes, and it was amazing.
I love that.
That's how I imagine Southern weddings are, like 300 to 400 people. For some reason, that's what's in my head, because I feel like, oh, that's Southern hospitality. You can't not invite your fifth cousin twice removed. You know, everybody's coming.
Yeah. This
and they're all big families.
Their whole town, basically.
Yeah.
If you're taking the street. Yeah. So, Kelley, we totally forgot to open. We forgot an opener that we do with our guests.
Oh, yeah.
So jumping off, we jump around all the time. Makes sense. A pet peeve. We love to hear pet peeves from our guests. And do you have one prepared?
I do. I have 3, actually.
Oh, wow.
You can tell us all 3.
If that made me rude.
No, yeah, go for it.
Okay. My biggest pet peeve, and I feel like it like ties in with Southern weddings, is when a mom pretends like it's her wedding, like her chance to redo her wedding, and she doesn't give the bride a say. That happens. I mean, it's happened to me a good handful of times where I have to like be conniving and have conversations one-on-one with the bride to be like, hey, what do you actually want? And I will always be that planner to push that boundary.
So I have a question for you guys, because I know that Jen does not work with parents anymore. She contracts just with couples. I myself work with a lot of moms, parents, but moms in particular, just because that's usually the ones footing the bill for the weddings that I do. So I tend to be involved quite a bit with the parents. And it sounds like you kind of have a mix. So my question for you guys is, when a mom starts to take over like that, we all want to listen to the bride. But what happens, and I guess Jen, maybe you're out of this conversation, but what happens when the parents are the one who contracted you or footing the bill? How do you handle that?
I feel like you can do both. Like you can always take time to like understand what the bride actually wants, and then make that into something that the couple is excited about too. I mean, that the parents are excited about too.
So mental manipulation.
Yeah, obviously.
I will say that was my answer exactly, was like, you get them to think it's their idea.
Yeah.
So no, I don't work with parents anymore. And actually, even one of my new clients, I love the parents and they're paying, but in the contract, it's still, they're just the financial backers and not decision makers. That's how I put my contract together. So it's very clear that they're not the decision makers. But prior to that, I think it is. Sometimes the parents are right.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I'm coming back to the couples, and even if I'm not working with the parents directly, and they're like, oh, well, our mom thinks that we need a code check. And I'm like, 'cause you do, you know what I mean? So I'm also, I mean, the joke, I love my clients' parents. I just don't work with them. They've been through a lot of weddings and events, and they know what makes it run smoother and whatever. So sometimes it is even that opposite of like, no, yeah, your parents are right. So that's what we're doing.
For me, it's just like checking in. that like the bride, because I'm working with a lot of young brides. Like people do get married down here at 24, 25. Like I'm working with a lot of young brides.
Oh my gosh.
And so I think it's just like a matter of like checking in to make sure that like they still have a voice in the decision-making process.
Yeah.
That like they're not being steamrolled by mom.
Yeah.
Right. I'll also defend moms in the sense that I think we're one of the first generations that had complete control over our weddings. I think past generations, it was very common for mom to plan the wedding.
Yes.
So just defending like, yeah, there is kind of that mentality of like, now it's my turn to plan a wedding because I didn't get to plan mine.
Right.
And that sucks. And I'm sorry, but kind of times have changed and traditions have changed. And
right.
I think the biggest annoyance for me is when parents don't see that. It's like, this is a new world, just like it was a new world when you were 24.
Right.
Anywho, it's okay, cool. Number 2.
Okay, number 2 is when vendors don't educate clients like with kindness in the initial meetings. So like so many times mostly it's talking to friends that are planning weddings and I'm like curious about what they're doing. And they're like, yeah, well, we're doing hydrangea and greenery. And I'm like, do you want hydrangea and greenery? And they're like, well, no, but that's what the florist recommended. I'm like, well, why wouldn't she have like talked to you about what your options are?
Yeah.
I think that so many times people just like out of ease put couples in buckets and just give them these like churn and burn weddings, which is, I guess, why we have jobs. But that annoys me.
It annoys me too. And it actually, I think, shoots people in the foot. Like you could probably double their budget if you educated them.
Or threw out some different ideas.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many weddings I booked that I got the couples to double their planning budget because I took the time to explain to them what we do and what you want. Mm-hmm. So I think it's silly to do it. It's part of our job is to educate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or just drawing a line in budget. Like, no, you like, I start at 8,000 and I'm not going to explain to you what that entails. Like, and that is scary to people. Like to think about spending $8,000 on flowers is scary to people. Right. Like I get that as your first reach out, but then when you understand, when you see what the different options are, and then you end up knowing that you need to spend $15,000 on flowers.
I was going to say, and then they look at their Pinterest board and they realize that whole board is $40,000 worth of flowers.
I was venue touring with my new clients yesterday, and they asked a question along the lines of like, will our decor proposals surprise us? I said, all the proposals will surprise you. Yeah. I will of course prepare you for the surprise, right? But everything's expensive.
How many times do you guys hear this costs way more than I thought it was going to? It's like,
surprise.
Yep.
All right, number 3.
Okay, number 3 is when a vendor asks when vendor meals are.
Yes.
That's one of Megan's.
Bring a protein bar. I'm not eating until I get home. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. It annoys me too, but we hear that one a lot.
Yeah. I try to really prepare now so that I have that answer ahead of time, because there was a while where I just took the stance of like, we're going to eat, like you'll eat when you eat, it's going to work itself out. But just being asked that question in the moment when I'm usually busy with something more important, like drives me over the edge. So now I know if I have a very firm plan and I can just quickly answer them, it saves my sanity, because otherwise I don't want to get worked up about something and then, whatever.
Burn a bridge.
Yeah.
Be like, I don't fucking know when you're going to eat, Bill. Yeah. Why don't you Uber Eats yourself a little snack-a-doodle? I'm busy.
Called the wedding diet.
Yes, exactly. You could stand to lose a couple of lbs, you know what I'm saying?
Those were good ones.
Yeah.
So are there any big differences you see in decor in Southern weddings? Like, are there any trends happening right now that you guys are seeing that you don't think would be happening up here?
That's so interesting, because I don't know that I am following what y'all are doing. Like, and I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, so down here we're doing like a lot of really bright florals.
Okay.
Same up here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always like a blue and white under, like everybody still loves and will forever love like chinoiserie blue and white stuff.
That seems very Southern to me.
That is that's like China, right?
Yep.
Do you see like because isn't China a big thing in the South in general?
Plates, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
for me personally, yes. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So how when you're doing the more like cocktail style tables, how do you get your fix of like you have like 2/3 seating. So do you just like make those tables just like stunning?
Yeah, but there's probably not table settings, right?
Yeah, there's no
Oh.
table settings, but I will still do pretty plates. So what comes to mind is this Charleston wedding that I did last year. We still had a different style plate that like matched and made the food look good at every station. So, like we still had beautiful plates
I'm gonna do
at
that.
each station, but they were all different. And like then and then the linens are, oh my gosh. I mean, it was all bright colors and like crazy floral. And like that was a super fun wedding to do too. So yeah, we still plates, but I do miss the tablescaping because that's my jam.
Well, here's the thing about that. Can I share a little pet peeve of mine with tablescaping?
Yeah. Yes. This is great.
This isn't being crabby with brides or grooms. It's about like the misleading of the design of a wedding. So I just am doing a like announcement to everybody. If you are a bride and a groom, and if you are on Pinterest, and if you are looking at these beautiful place settings with multiple plates stacked on top of each other and all the silverware set and your table looks gorgeous, here is your announcement. That is not a real wedding. Because if you are doing a plated dinner, nobody sits down to a full table set of stacked plates. They are going to bring you your plate with the food on it.
So that's not how I do it. So
Really?
I love tablescapes. So I ordered double dinner plates. So
oh my God, nobody up here would go for that.
Yeah.
They'd be like, Megan, you're losing your fucking mind.
You do sit down and you have the full tablescape. But I do agree that the stacked plates drive me insane. If there is not going to be any food served that would go on that plate, don't put it there. But my clients will sit down to the dinner plate there, and then the caterer or the server will then take up the empty dinner plate and replace it with the dinner plate with the food on it.
Okay. And I don't mind the look of it. I think it looks pretty, but what drives me nuts is that these brides come in and they think that their wedding is going to look a certain way. And then I'm like, well, but that's not how you set the table. You would have to order 2 dinner plates and rentals and stuff. And their like mind is blown. It's like this disillusion of how, weddings are set up.
Well, you have to order 2 dinner forks and 2 dinner because you're trading them after. Like, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I actually use a second dinner plate typically as a charger. I don't love chargers. So chargers, if everybody knows what it's funny when I talk about a charger with a couple, they're like phone, like there'll be phone chargers at the table. And I'm like, great idea. No. So a charger is like a decorative plate that is put down that then the dinner plate or the salad plate goes on top of, and then they both get removed before the dinner typically, or that's is that different in the South?
Yeah. Typically your charger would stay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too. I make them because if you're paying, these chargers up here, the nice ones are like at least $10 to rent a piece. So I'm like, if that thing is down, it is staying there until dessert.
Yes, same. I think they're double the price in Chicago. So what I do is I will order a really beautiful dinner plate. And it works, you can get something more basic, something a little bit more fancy, so that there is a plate when you sit down and it's not just like a napkin or whatever. So it does look like a set table, but it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And it still gives that same illusion. But yeah, there's not 7 plates stacked on top of each other like you're sitting down to your family Easter dinner and serving yourself.
See, that's funny because that's like my goal for every wedding. Is like
family style
to your family Easter, like it's in your house and you're using your heirlooms and like you're using grandma's silver. Like that is literally for a lot of my weddings because a lot of my clients are like heirloom focused.
But nobody's sitting down at your weddings. It's all stations.
They are. That's not always true. I think a traditional Southern style is stations. We do sometimes do a seated dinner though.
But then is it family style? Or plated?
So the one that's coming to my mind, no, it was plated. We did a fabulous tablescape a couple years ago. I love family style though. My sister-in-law's wedding that I did was family style with an awesome tablescape, and that was really fun.
So toasts, do toasts in the South also go for 25 minutes sometimes and you want to pull your hair out? Is that
Yeah,
universal?
they
Okay.
do. And I have started, I think as everybody has, started pushing toasts to all happen at rehearsal dinner so that we can just not do them. Like we do a welcome, like my perfect world would be for like the dad to give a welcome at the actual wedding and for all other toasts to be at the rehearsal dinner. Because
I love that too.
no one wants to listen to 20 minutes of toast. Like just the bride and groom want to hear it. Like
Yeah.
nobody else wants to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I just suggested for one of my couples next year to have the maid of honor and best man give their, not even, we won't call it a toast, but their like tribute during the ceremony. So it's just when people actually are giving your attention and then it's done. Then parents can give the welcome before dinner and then we're done. No more toasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they go for it, but I'm kind of trying
I love
to
that.
slowly edge out toasts altogether.
Okay, can I say two more things that maybe y'all haven't heard of?
Yes.
That are
Yeah.
like very big traditions down here?
Please.
Cake pulls. So sometimes we've now shifted to do it during the bridesmaids luncheon, but traditionally it was in the actual wedding cake. And all of your bridesmaids, so there are charms that are inside the cake. I mean, they're in between two layers of the cake.
Okay.
That are attached to a string. So you can't see what the charm is. So your whole bridal party stands around the cake and then you choose a string to pull out and they all mean different things. So like you might get like, I don't remember what the charm is for, like you might be the next one to get married or you might have a baby or you might.
So it's a fortune teller.
Oh God, do I have to pick? I don't want to. What if I get... That is cute, actually. Yeah.
And it's just like another way to involve the bridesmaids. But people have shifted it. I do think that it's weird now to do it at the wedding. People have shifted it to the bridesmaids luncheon. So it's literally just you and your bridesmaids there. And
Yeah.
you do it with your little cake. And it's like, it's sweet.
I kind of want to do that for my next birthday.
But do really crazy fortunes.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
They will not be normal.
Right.
Yeah. They will be like, you'll get an autograph at the next Planner Passport show. I'm going to do that. And then I'll tell you all about it. Oh, I say y'all know.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh.
The second thing.
Yeah.
Burying the bourbon. Have you ever?
Oh,
no.
Okay. So a lot of weddings in the South are outside. And so you really want to have good weather. So a month before your wedding, you go to your ceremony or to your reception venue and you bury a bottle of bourbon, hopefully when it's really nice weather. And then you unbury it on your wedding day and like have a toast with it together. And it's the saying is that you'll have good weather if you bury the bourbon.
And what is the track record?
Yeah.
Do we have the statistics on that?
I mean, my Charleston client last year did it. Well, all my clients last year, literally everyone does it.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Do you have more of these? These are great.
Okay. The last one that I have is bridal portraits. So you put your wedding dress on like a couple months before you do your makeup trial and your hair trial, and you put your dress on and you have bridal portraits done so that you can hang. So then you get it printed and framed and you hang it up at your reception so that everybody can stare at it and see what your dress looks like and how beautiful you are.
Oh,
and they don't have to really talk to you. They can just look at the picture of your dress.
Oh.
And then it hangs up in your mom's living room afterwards.
Wow.
I have mixed feelings about that.
Wait, can you send us a picture of yours?
Yeah.
Okay. We want to share that. I want to share that.
Planning timeline has bridal portrait. And then like you have to book the photographer for the like photographers packages come with a engagement session, a bridal portrait session, and then wedding day.
Huh.
We do boudoir photos up here in the north.
We do. We're like, do you want to get naked and send these pictures to your husband?
For the record, I did that, but not with my wedding photographer, and it was not posted at my wedding.
Oh, can I manifest that we have a boudoir photographer come on the planner's passport?
Have you ever done it, Megan?
No.
Oh, you should. It's very liberating.
I did it before kids, and I'm very glad that I did.
Yeah, the reason I did it is because I remember the episode of Sex and the City where Samantha did it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I think that's a good idea because,
And are you glad you did it?
yeah, they're great. I looked great. It was during COVID. It was right after, it was like, I was getting a divorce. The best weight loss program is a traumatic separation and divorce from your spouse. And I was in the best shape of my life. And so I'll post those pictures. I don't care. You want to see it, listeners? I'll show you.
No, my dad follows this. Let's not.
Yeah.
Let's post them on a different.
And your husband likes every photo. So and then he wouldn't like that. And I'd be like, oh, okay, Jared. Okay.
Me. I was in my prime.
I get it, but come on.
So funny.
Anything else? Those are fun. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that, like we don't know about.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
It's just traditions.
Tradition. Isn't that like a musical?
Yeah. Fiddler on the Roof, I think.
Yes, I think it is. I've never seen it, but I know how to quote it. Pop culture, everybody.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm good at trivia. Anything else that you would like to share with us? Or any other bones to pick from our last episode that you want to hash out?
Or anything that you'd like to manifest. We like to manifest things.
We got over that North Carolina is the South.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
There is a big difference in Eastern and so like Northeastern and Southern weddings.
Yep.
Right.
And Southern weddings are really cool in their own way.
I will give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've on that one episode that we're referencing, I mean, I made it pretty clear that I'm exhausted by the same timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's like been fun for me to shake that up and let's get these Northerners, moving and shaking.
Well, and I think it definitely is a fun way to do a wedding, but it works well for you guys because everybody knows what to expect.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about that in our East Coast style versus Midwest style. Like when you know what to expect, then that timeline is going to work for everybody because they're going to be into it.
Do you see, I will say this is no longer a thing up here and it hasn't been for a very long time. What about bouquet and garter tosses?
No.
That's gone too.
Sometimes bouquet. I haven't seen a garter toss for years.
I wonder.
I did one.
Did you?
Yeah, 10 years ago.
I wore a garter just to recreate a photo from my grandma's wedding, but it did not get taken off.
Yeah.
I still have it on. Just kidding. I shower with it on.
You didn't realize that you couldn't take it off yourself. You're just waiting.
Like, well, just have to work around that. So did Luke go up under your dress at the reception?
It's so embarrassing to think about now.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Can't wait for the kiddos to see that video.
We actually don't really have any videos from our wedding day.
I think that's good.
Yeah, that was one of the first, because I do get sad when people say, like, screw traditions. Like, traditions are fun and they're important.
Yeah.
But that was one of the...
But maybe not that one. Maybe not that one in particular.
Yeah.
We can do away with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I'm so lucky that I have done so many different cultural weddings and like you learn different traditions and yeah, I mean, I agree. There's a point to it. It's why we do weddings. That's the other thing I tell couples. It's like, it's a tradition. It's a cultural tradition and you're lucky. I think if you get to experience it, you're lucky. It's a really cool thing to experience.
Yeah.
Whether you're getting married in the north, the south, the east, the west.
Or Florida.
And on that, I think
On that note. Well, thank you so much for coming on the episode. I know I've been wanting you on here for a while, so I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Kelley.
It was nice to meet you too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'll see you in October in Williamsburg, Virginia.
I'll be laughing.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us again this week. If you have a wedding or travel-related story of your own that you would like us to share in a future episode, send us an email to theplannerspassport@gmail.com.
And be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Planner's Passport, and follow all of our travel and wedding businesses, including We Roam Solo, Dare to Dream Travel, and Dare to Dream Weddings. And please, if you enjoy our show, remember to rate, review, and subscribe from wherever you are listening to this podcast.